He may have lasted in his job slightly longer than Ange Postecoglou, but Danny Lennon leaves Airdrieonians with the exact same record. 8 games played, 2 games drawn, 6 games lost, and a win percentage of 0%. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. And another manager bites the dust. And I get it, North Lanarkshire is a shithole. Airdrie is a shithole, but I've never seen a guy get out of town as quick as Danny Lennon has. He's came in, he's lasted less than 2 months, and he's already out the door without a single victory at Airdrieonians, and now they are left in a dangerous position, sitting right down the bottom of the Scottish Championship, and it's not looking good for them. I mean, the only positives they can take is that Ross County look really shite, but you expect Ross County to kick on. You expect Ross County to improve. Therefore, are Airdrieonians really battling Ross County to stay out of that relegation spot, or are they battling the teams that are above Ross County in the league, which would be Queen's Park, Greenock Morton, and then Raith Rovers? I don't know, it's going to look tough for Airdrie. 11 games in, not a single win. Although the 3 teams directly in front of them, they've only also won a single game apiece. So Morton, Queen's Park and Ross County all with just a single victory. It's going to be tough for Airdrie, but I think that at least they've made this decision, and at least they're parted ways early enough in the season that they're giving a new manager enough time to come in and turn it around. But it's going to be very tough. I think they've probably got the worst squad in the Championship. They're lucky to be in the Championship. They're only in a Championship because of a points deduction to Hamilton, which we'll actually talk about a little bit later, because they just received another points deduction. So things aren't going good for Hamilton Academical, but we're here right now to talk about Airdrieonians. Things certainly not going good for them. 4 points off of Ross County, 5 points off of Queen's Park, and 7 points off of Greenock Morton. Like I said, no wins in 11 games. 8 of those games were under Danny Lennon, and I think he had to go. You know, Airdrie started the season with 2 draws and a defeat, which isn't great, but they avoided defeat in 2 of the first 3 games, and then since then they've lost 6 of the next 8 under Danny Lennon. It wasn't going anywhere. They weren't improving. He wasn't making them better. It was a very strange appointment in the first place. I don't think many Airdrieonian fans were happy with it, and I can't imagine that over the next 8 games, they changed their mind on that. They were probably even less happy. So, we'll have to wait and see who they bring in. There's been a lot of managerial positions open lately. We've seen Rangers looking at a lot of managers. I don't think this exact same type of managers are going to be in contention here for this Airdrie job, but we have to wait and see. There will be managers without jobs. I can't really think of any off the top of my head right now, but I am sure there are guys out there looking for work, and who knows, maybe Airdrieonians will be a good club for them. But Lennon took charge on the 27th of August after Rhys McCabe resigned as player manager, and like I said, he wasn't really doing that bad, but he decided to quit, and then, as we know, 56-year-old Lennon came in and he just didn't deliver. Now, he did deliver back in his St Mirren days when he helped them to a Scottish League Cup, but yeah, just nothing happening here. And yeah, Airdrie have announced that he is gone. So here is what the quote from Airdrieonians Football Club website said. It said, quote, Airdrieonians FC confirms that it parted company with manager Danny Lennon. We are grateful to Danny for his efforts during his time at the club. End of quote. So very brief, very short, basically saying Danny Lennon's out the door. Danny Lennon is no more. And we're going to try now and salvage our season. We're going to try and stay in the Championship. Do I think they'll do it? No, I do not. I don't think they'll do it. I fear for Airdrieonians. Like I said, they're lucky to even be in it. And it might take another stroke of luck. It might take another points deduction for them to stay in this league, or it might take them, I don't know, being gifted, someone just gifting them like 20 points out of sympathy. It might take that, but I mean, let's have a look at Danny Lennon's record then. So he came in on the 27th of August. His first game was a 1-0 defeat away to Arbroath in the league. Then he followed up in the league with a 2-1 defeat away from home. against Partick Thistle. So never good when you come in and lose your first 2 games, but they were narrow defeats. And I mean, let's be fair, Arbroath and Partick Thistle doing pretty well this season, both up near the top. So I don't think there's no shame in that. You know, there is no shame in those 2 defeats. Third game in the league, he drew 0-0 at Raith Rovers at home. Again, Raith Rovers, not a horrible side by any means, but you would have been looking to try and win that. That was his first home game in charge. Had to settle for a 0-0. And maybe slightly concerning, 3 games into the Danny Lennon era here, and he's only scored 1 goal. Now, to be fair, he's only conceded 3, and he hasn't lost a game by more than 1, but still, you know, it's 2 defeats and 1 draw with only 1 goal being scored. Not great. Fourth game, at home again, a defeat, this time to St Johnstone, 2-1, a narrow defeat. Again, nothing embarrassing about this. St Johnstone at this point were winning every game. It looked like they were running away with the league. It's a narrow defeat. It's a close defeat. It's a respectable scoreline, but it's a defeat at the end of the day. It's another loss. Then his 5th game, he takes on Ayr United away from home, and he loses 4-2. Again, 2 goals. The most goals that Airdrie had scored in his run so far as Airdrie manager. They scored the same amount of goals in this game against Ayr United away to Scott Brown's Ayr than they had in the previous 4 games. In his first 4 games, they scored 2 goals. And in his 5th game, they matched that with 2 goals. But it was still a defeat. It was a 4-2 defeat to Ayr United. Then, I think this was the killer. We move on to the 6th game in charge at home against Greenock Morton, who were the draw specialists. And Airdrie really couldn't afford to draw this game. But they didn't draw it. They didn't draw it. They lost by 2-1. So, again, this is another defeat. We're now 6 games in to the Danny Lennon era. He's lost 5 and drew 1. At this point, not good enough, and considering how poor Airdrie started the season, they really needed to try and win this game. It is a winnable game. You're at home against Greenock Morton, a side that I think had only, at this point, won 1 game the entire campaign, so, or maybe at this point they hadn't even won a game, so, you know, it's Greenock Morton. It's a winnable match, and they didn't win it. Then the next match, away to Queen's Park, 0-0 draw. Again, it's a draw. I mean, at least he didn't lose, but it's not a win. It's not a win. And then the final nail in the coffin came last night. Airdrieonians 0, Dunfermline Athletic 4. And honestly, out of his 8 games in charge, this is probably the only really bad result. I know he lost 6 of the 8 games, but 5 of the 6 games that he lost, he only lost by a single goal. And then the only goal that he lost by more than a single goal was the 4-2 defeat at Ayr United, at Ayer's home ground. So nothing embarrassing there, you know, nothing terrible in terms of score lines or results, but the 4-0 against Dunfermline at home, that was probably a sign that here things are not getting better. In fact, things are getting worse, and that is it. Danny Lennon then gone, so that's him out of management. Don't really know if he'll be getting into management anytime soon. His last time he was Airdrieonians manager, he was the interim manager, and he lasted 8 games. But back then he had a 37.5 win% ratio, which is better than his 0% win ratio this time. So, yeah, it sucks for him. It sucks for Airdrie. I don't think he'll quite be getting the payoff that Ange Postecoglou got. So, forgive me if I don't believe that Danny Lennon can afford to go to beaches and drink pina coladas or whatever for the next 10 years of his life. He'll probably be looking to get back into management, although he did have 3 years off before taking the Airdrie job, so who knows? Maybe he'll retire. Maybe he'll just play Football Manager for the rest of his days. He's 56, so he's still got quite a while before he collects his pension. So I don't know what Danny Lennon's going to be doing, but he won't be managing Airdrieonians for the rest of the season. I do know that, and the hunt begins. So yeah, maybe we'll have a look at manager odds, and we'll make a video because we don't discriminate. And Fog Football is here to cover all of Scottish football, regardless of whether you're the team at the top of the table in the Scottish Premiership, Heart of Midlothian, or whether you're a Diddy team in the Championship, where I grew up, Airdrie. So aye, North Lanarkshire, shithole. But it's almost my shithole, really, even though I don't live there anymore. Fun times in Airdrie, even though it's like the stabbing capital of Scotland. Although you could argue every city is the stabbing, or every town even is the stabbing capital of Scotland. Anyway, guys, that's it. Airdrieonians, I think they're doomed. I think they're fucked. I think they're going down. But prove me wrong. You know, I hope they bring somebody in, and I hope they find some form. It's just good for the championship. You know, you don't want any team to be cut adrift. It's interesting when it goes down to like the final few weeks and you've got a relegation battle, a title battle, a playoff battle. I mean, nobody likes to see a team down and out going into the final like few months of the season. So I do hope Airdrieonians turn it around, but they're going to need to bring in a good appointment, and he's going to need to start getting results fast. Now, last year when they were behind, I think by like 15 points, they did start to, you know, they did start to narrow the gap, but they left it too late. And obviously they were saved with the points deduction. I mean, this time they're only, 4 behind County, 5 behind Queen's Park. So, you know, they're not a million miles behind. But I do feel like Queen's Park and Ross County, they will get better. They have to get better, especially Ross County. They cannot continue with how bad they've been. So I think Airdrie are definitely going to need to pick it up and pick it up fast. Anyway, guys, that's it. Danny Lennon's gone. Airdrie are looking at a new manager. Who knows? Maybe I'll return home and maybe I'll take charge of the club. Probably not. Maybe I'm football manager. Maybe that'll be a football FM 26 save. Anyway, guys, that's it. Till next time. Can anybody save Airdrie? Let me know what you think down below. Till then, peace.